This is HighIntensityBusiness.com with Lawrence Neal, helping you achieve your health and fitness goals. Become a great personal trainer and build your high-intensity strength training business.
Lawrence Neal here, and welcome back to HighIntensityBusiness.com. This is episode 263. And today's topic is how to grow your business during the shutdown and how to recover strong for the reopen, whenever that might be. Hopefully it's very soon. Today's guest is Gary Griffiths. Gary, thank you for joining me today.
G'day, Lawrence. Thanks for having me, mate. I'm pretty excited to be here.
I really appreciate it. Obviously, we're both members of Superfast Business, and I love collaborating with people from the community because everyone's at a really high level. You know, I love the fact that I am probably the least successful in the community because it makes me raise my game and get to connect with people like you. So that's really cool. So just for those that don't know you, obviously you're pretty prolific in the online space, but do you just want to give a bit of a background about you, what you're involved in and what you've achieved from a business perspective?
Yeah, sure, mate. So I own several businesses that work with local businesses all around the world, helping them to grow their local business, attract more customers, sell more to those customers, and keep those customers coming back more frequently and coming back for a longer period of time. One of my businesses is called Gym Engine. It was actually my first business that I started about 6 years ago now. And Gym Engine actually operates on most continents. We have clients all over the world, even clients in non-English speaking markets, believe it or not. And we've been going for about 6 years. We've helped probably we're approaching about 1,000 facilities, 1,000 gyms now that we've worked with around the world. And we've generated millions of leads, and I've lost track of how much dollars we would have brought in for our gym partners over the years. But it's been a fun ride. It's a great market to work with. I love it. I love the people, and I love the whole culture of the gym culture and the purpose and helping people change their life, get fit, and turn their lives around. You know, it's a really important part of our life, I think, and I just love working with that market.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're just looking at your website for your program you mentioned there. It is unbelievable just how many results you've achieved for your clients. I mean, the number of leads you generated is, and obviously how that's converted into revenue is just significant. I've not seen someone in our industry with quite the resume and the sheer number of case studies. So exciting stuff, because I think there's a lot we can learn from you. So let's kick this one off. So obviously we're in a pretty difficult position right now. Studios all over the world. Most of my listeners are in the US, but I do have listeners all over the world, are shut down temporarily. And we hope that's not going to go on for too much longer. It's tough because some of them have large overheads and other costs that they need to meet. And so, a large number of them have transitioned virtually or tried to pivot in various ways to drive revenue. So what's your take on all of this? And have you got any advice on, what the studio businesses should be trying to do right now?
Yeah, look, I know it is a very, very tough time. Gyms pretty much around the world are shut. They've still got a lot of expenses to take care of each month. A lot of gyms are taking their business online, and I think one of the fastest ways they can do that is to use a simple application like Zoom. They can run sessions for up to 40 minutes with the free version of Zoom. If they want to run longer sessions than that, it's only going to cost them $15 a month. It's a great way to interact with people and still deliver classes online. And I know we're going to talk about what I call our ARC strategy in a little bit, and we'll go into that in a moment. But one of the thoughts that just came to mind is there is actually a way that studios can generate revenue right now, even while they're closed. Do you want me to just go through that
Please
a little
do.
bit for you? Yeah,
Please,
sure.
yeah.
So if the studios are closed as of today, they probably pause the membership fees that are coming in and so forth. Now, two things. One, if they've got members that that would pay normally, say $100 for 10 visits, is that something that would normally happen with your members?
Well,
Or are they
the
are they
price
on
point
monthly
would be
recurring?
both. So that firstly, I do think it's best practice in our industry to have auto pay or monthly recurring memberships.
Absolutely.
But also
Yep.
the price points will tend to be higher than the average in our specific field. So, you're talking, it's still hard to say, but they vary between maybe $50 to $100 for a personal training session. But I would say it'd be more premiumly positioned than the majority of the fitness industry.
Yep. Okay. So if they've got people that would normally pay for those personal training sessions, one of the most effective ways to generate revenue right now is to text those people that have been buying those sessions in the past and offering them a special offer, a special incentive to buy pre-purchase effectively several hours of personal training access at a discount for use at a time when the gym reopens, basically. So, if say they normally sell them for $50 for a personal training session, they might offer 5 personal training sessions for $200. Mm-hmm. And that way they can collect that cash right now while they're still closed, with a commitment to deliver those training sessions once the gym reopens. So that's sort of one tactic that we're seeing work quite well. The other one is if someone's on a recurring membership. So what would a regular recurring membership cost? Maybe $200 or $300 a month, or
I'd say at the lower end. Yeah, and then also, you could be seeing sort of $400-$600 a month as well, depending on frequency of their training. Yeah.
Yep. So again, similar concept. We find SMS works best to execute this. It's a much more interpersonal way to interact with the members, but they can offer a special incentive that if they'd like to purchase now, say 3 months access, or go into a quarterly program, and then offering them a discount to do that, and locking in that commitment now for when they do reopen, that person's going to go into that quarterly commitment going forward. So what that means is when they reopen the doors, instead of that person paying, say, $500 a month, they might pay $1,200. So they get a larger boost of cash flow, because cash flow is going to be so important when they reopen to help the business get back on its feet. And so they've got to think about ways they can generate cash flow as fast as possible once they reopen. So that's sort of one of the other ideas that we're rolling out with our customers around the world. And we're finding SMS gets the best engagement and gets the best result in getting a conversation going with those members. And the third one I'll just touch on is selling sort of a gift membership. So members buying, say, a personal training session, and generally they don't need to be discounted when they're offered, because people are generally happy to pay full price because they're gifting it to someone that they care about, and that can obviously be used when the gym reopens. So that's 3 different ways actually that they can generate some cash pretty quickly to help with the cash flow crunch that they're no doubt facing at the moment.
Cool. Could you just remind me of the second one again? Sorry, I was looking at something and I got distracted for a moment. Could you just give me a quick summary of that one?
Oh yeah, sure. So the second way that they can generate some cash flow. Now, unfortunately, the cash flow won't come in until they actually reopen. But what they can do is they can reach out to their members that may be on a monthly membership program, and let's say they're paying $500 a month normally. They can reach out to those members and say, look, as soon as we reopen, we're going to be providing a special offer to our best members like yourself. And instead of paying $500 a month, we're going to offer you a special deal to move to a quarterly membership. And a quarterly membership is only going to cost you $1,200. So you're going to save $300, $100 a month. If you invest in our quarterly membership program, we're not making this available to everyone. It's only to our best members, and we'd like to offer it to you, available to you as soon as we reopen our doors. So that one, whilst it doesn't bring in cash flow straight away, it gives them a cash flow bump as soon as they open their doors, because they are going to need as much cash flow coming in as possible to help them get back on their feet.
Gary, this is gold. This is great start. I just on your first one there regarding pre-selling sessions for when you reopen at a discounted rate. I know someone who's actually done that. Bryce Lee over at Strength Space did that with very, very great effect recently, and it was very successful for him. So I think that's a really good idea for people to ponder as part of their strategy.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So let's just see here. I've closed my notes, but just reopen them there. Okay, so those are some things that people can do in the interim to drive more revenue now and also plan for increased revenues in the future when they reopen. You talked about ARC, which we'll get into in a moment. Is there, one of the notes I had here is regarding mindset. Is there a way to, is there any kind of tips you've got around mindset or how to think about this time and one strategy to try and succeed out of all this?
Look, it's no doubt a very tough time for everyone. A lot of people are no doubt struggling. The best thing I think I can suggest is to try and surround yourself with positive people who are glass half full and have a lot of energy and motivation to come successfully out of this. I mean, and if you look at history, some of the biggest, most successful organizations have been born out of disaster. Uber, and a whole bunch of other very successful companies were born out of the last global recession that we had. So whilst it's tough right now, they're going to have an opportunity to come out of this so much stronger and better as a business owner, as a business leader, and as a mentor and leader in their communities.
Awesome. Yeah, I always think of the Thomas Edison story. You know that one where he had that factory that burnt down, and it was like, his whole business generating a lot of revenue. I think it was generating, even back in those days, like in the millions or a few 100,000 at least. And it caught fire, whole thing burnt down, and he had no fire insurance, and he had to completely start from scratch. And I think that same year, he managed to rebuild things and 10x the revenue. Like,
wow.
That's a really kind of, summarized version
that's
of the story. But one can go on Google and just Google that. But it's one of those stories you read where it's like, I have nothing to complain about. Like, if he can do it, and there's all these other examples of people getting through things like this, then so can I. So, is there anything else? I guess we're going to get into ARC, and maybe it's an appropriate time to do that. But is there anything else you can think of which the listeners can do to make the most of this situation, get ready in their business, drive revenue during the interim before we get into ARC, or do you think it's right to just get straight into that?
Look, I do think it's time to get into that. What they got to do now is deliver online classes, try and bring in cash flow, or get their cash flow happening, and prepare themselves for when they reopen. And that's where the ARC strategy, I think, can add an immense amount of value for them if they understand it and can go and implement it in their businesses.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay,
so we'll dive into that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. All right. So the ARC strategy is basically there's 4 different elements to the ARC strategy. It's an acronym. So the first component is A for acquisition, so member acquisition. And so really what this is about is leveraging strategies and tactics that help you acquire new members to your facility. The second part of the ARC strategy is retention, so member retention. And this is about getting your members to remain a member for a longer period of time so that their lifetime value ultimately increases. The third R for the ARC strategy is reactivation, and this is about member reactivation. So going and reactivating all of your previous members and motivating them to become a member once again. And then the fourth part of the ARC strategy is C for cross-sell. And so this is cross-selling to your membership and increasing the average transaction value, the average amount of money that they're spending with your facility each month. And that also increases the lifetime value of those members. So that's the ARC strategy: acquisition, retention, reactivation, and cross-selling.
Awesome.
Cool?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Makes sense.
So let me break that down into some real-world examples now of what that looks like to implement the ARC strategy into say a high-intensity strength training facility. So the first part is A for acquisition. So acquisition is about how are you going to acquire new members into your facility. Now, doing that, most facilities these days run Facebook ads, which is, it's a tried and proven method to acquiring new members into a facility. We don't knock Facebook ads. We use Facebook ads ourselves, but there are other ways that you can acquire new members without having to invest in Facebook ads, without having to deal with the complexity of Facebook ads. And so I'll run through quite a detailed example of what one of those would look like. It starts with having an offer that converts. Now, you would know this, Lawrence, from Superfast Business, that this is the very first principle that you need to have in order to have a successful business. You need an offer that converts. So an offer that converts, there's a lot of different offers that convert out there for fitness facilities. And I'll just, for the sake of ease, I'll just use an easy example of a free 10-day pass. Someone would get to come in and access the facility and have a program they could work to for 10 days before having to make a commitment around signing up to become a member. So let's assume that's our offer that converts. Is that okay for the purposes of the example?
Yeah. That would be absolutely fine, yeah.
All right. So next, assuming that the facility has been running Facebook ads over time, they've probably collected a lot of leads in the business. And ideally, they've got those leads in a spreadsheet somewhere. The names and the phone numbers and the email addresses of a whole bunch of people that might have at one point clicked on the ad and thought maybe this is interesting, but and for whatever reason never signed up to become a member of the gym. What they can do is they can take that list of leads that have never signed up for a membership program, and they can send those people an SMS message, and a personalized SMS message that might say something as simple as, "Hey, Lawrence, this is Gary from ABC High Intensity Strength Training Gym. I've got I'm offering people that were previously interested in our facility a 10-day free pass. Are you interested?" Now, the verbiage might be slightly different to that because you got some character limitations when you send a text message, but that's the gist of the text message that you would send out, right? So it's very clear about who you are and what you're offering. And if they don't respond after a couple of days, you might send a follow-up SMS to say, "Hey, Lawrence, I've only got a limited number of these passes available. Would you like me to save you one?" And then you might text back and say, "Hey, Gary, yeah, I'm actually very interested. What do I need to do to get one? And then I would text you back and say, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule in for you to come in. I'm going to sit down with you and give you a tour of the facility. You can have your first session, and we'll get you started on your 10-day pass. And we'd book that session in. And this can all happen via SMS, or they can jump on the phone at this point if they'd prefer to do that. And then once we've got that session locked in, now let's say I've got you booked for 9 a.m. Thursday for that first session. Then on Wednesday afternoon, I'll probably send you a reminder SMS to say, Lawrence, look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 9 a.m. And here's the Google Maps link to our address, so you can just tap the link and get your driving directions and find us easily. And then the next morning, maybe 8 a.m., about an hour before the session, or depending on how far people would generally travel, you're going to try and give them at least half an hour's notice before you think they might be jumping in the car to come over. And you want to send them another reminder SMS to say, hey, Lawrence, really looking forward to seeing you in an hour. Here's that Google link again, Google Maps link. See you soon. Right? So what we've done so far is we've gotten someone to put their hand up for an offer that we know converts. We've got them to book in a time to come into the facility. We've sent them a couple of reminder text messages, and ideally you want to include the Google Maps link in those text messages so they can just tap on it and it opens up for them to find the facility easily. And then they come in. So now it's Thursday, you walk in 9 a.m. I welcome you. Lawrence, great to see you. I'm really excited that you're here to check the facility out. I give you a tour around the facility, show you where all the different equipment is, show you where the showers are, and any other aspects to the gym and so forth. And then we get you into your first session, and then it doesn't end there, because when you finish that first session, after you've recovered a little bit, then as the gym owner, I want to be making a special offer to you to join that day and join up to become a member. So an example of an offer might be, if you normally have like a joining fee and a monthly membership fee as a part of your program, I might say, Lawrence, how did you find the class, or how did you find the session? And we'll build some rapport, continue to build some rapport, which we've been building over the entire time that we've been communicating. And then I'll say, look, we actually have a special offer for people the first time they come in and try out our facility. And normally we charge, a $500 joining or activation fee, and we charge $300 a month to come into our facility. Now, I know we've given you a free 10-day pass, and so the special offer that we give people if they join up when they come in for the first time is we waive that joining fee, and we halve the first monthly fee for you. So you won't have to pay the $500 joining fee. It's only going to cost you $150 for your first month, because I still want you to have the other 9 days that I promised we'd give you for free. Plus, I'm going to give you a few more free days to come and use the facility. And then for the second month onwards, you'll move to our regular membership fee. How does that sound? Mm-hmm. So that's sort of the flow of one example of how they can go about acquiring new members. And that, like I said, it can all be done using just SMS messaging up until the point they come into the facility.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's a really, really interesting strategy, and some really useful tactics. So is that the first part? That is effectively the member acquisition strategy, or is there more to that one before we move on?
Well, look, we have a number of member acquisition strategies. Okay. That's one example of them. Would you like me to give your listeners another one?
Let's go for one more, and then we'll move on to the next parts of the acronym, because I'm wary about overwhelming people, and I know we've got limited time.
Sure. Okay. So I'll give you one more example of an acquisition strategy. So we call this one a buddy pass. So the way this works is the owner takes a list of all the members of their facility, and no doubt they'll have their mobile phone numbers or their cell phone numbers if you're in America. And again, this is an SMS-based strategy, so it's really simple to implement. And the reason, just before I go into it, the reason we like to use SMS is because email is getting harder and harder to get into someone's inbox. And even when you do get into their inbox, it's getting harder and harder to get their attention. So we don't like to use email. I mean, our email response rates are getting into single digits for some facilities these days, whereas SMS has over a 90% open rate and over a 90, often, I was going to say 90% response rate, but that's not true. I got my numbers wrong. But it has over a 90% open rate, and you can sometimes get up to 50+% response rate. So it's a much, much better way to engage with your prospects and with your members. And that's why we use SMS for a lot of our strategies. It's also very cheap, right? So an SMS costs, 5-10 cents, depending on which market you're in. Okay, so back to the other strategy. So Buddy Pass. So the way Buddy Pass works is you get a list of all your members and you text out to each member. And you want to personalize this. You want to say, hey, Lawrence, or hey, Gary, not just hi and a generic copy and paste. Personalization will increase your response rates dramatically. So, hey, Lawrence, I know you love being a member at ABC High Intensity Strength Training Facility. Do you know anyone else that might be interested in a free 10-day pass to come along and try out our facility? And again, if I don't hear from you after a couple of days, I might text you a follow-up and say, hey, Lawrence, do you know anyone that might be interested in the 10-day pass? I've only got a limited number and they are running out. And then you'll text me back and say, hey, yeah, Gary, look, actually, my sister Jenny, I think she'd love to come along, and I think a 10-day free pass is a great way to get her to come along and check things out and see how we go. I'll say, great, Lawrence, that's fantastic, really appreciate it. Why don't you just send me Jenny's name and number, and I'll send her a text, and I'll take care of everything. And so you pass me Jenny's name and number, and then I send Jenny a text and say, hey, Jenny, your brother Lawrence passed me your details. He's a member at my gym and thought you might be interested in one of our free 10-day passes. Would you like me to save one for you? And then Jenny texts me back and says, yes, I'd love a 10-day pass. And then I sort of take it through the rest of the sequence that I explained before for the 10-day pass. So we book her in a time. We send her the SMS reminders with the Google link for the address to the facility. Then when she comes in, we welcome her. We give her a tour of the facility. She does the program for the 20, 30 minutes, however long it lasts. And then we also give Jenny the special offer, just like we did in the last example. So there's another way you can go and acquire new members.
Do you ever, just one question on that, do you ever have clients that have ethical issues with we're saving a 10-day free pass, although there's unlimited amounts potentially?
Well, there's not unlimited amounts. I mean, depending on how the facility is set up, some of our best clients are nearly at capacity, right? So they literally can't take too many more new members on, and they genuinely do limit the number of free passes they have us. Because we do this for a lot of our clients, so
got it.
They have us limit how many we can go and offer. So, and also, even if a large gym might have 600 members, we don't send that sort of offer out to all 600 members in one go. I mean, that would just overwhelm everything. Right. It would, so we might only text 10 to 20 a day as an example, because the gym might only be able to handle having 2 or 3 people come in each day for that first session, right?
Right. Yeah, because they need to make revenue as well. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep.
So we moving on to the next one here?
Yeah, sure. So member retention. So again, I'll just give you an example, leveraging SMS because it's so easy. So this one again is taking that membership database, the people that know, like, and trust you, that use the facility and are paying you fees. And if you've got the wherewithal financially, you can even do this now. It will help you even though you're closed at the moment. But you're basically going to send out an SMS message to your members. And again, don't send it out to every single member at the same time. You want to drip feed it over multiple days. But you send them an SMS and you say, hey, Lawrence, a lot of our members find us on Google when they're searching for a high-intensity strength training facility to come and join. And the best way we can help them find us on Google is by getting more positive Google reviews. And if you wouldn't mind, or if you think that we're doing a great job for you, we'd love it if you could leave us a Google review here, and here's the link. And you can send a URL in the SMS that if they tap on it, will take them straight to the Google review page for your facility, where they can just type in, oh my God, I love Gary's high intensity strength training facility. It's totally changed my life. And I could never dream of going anywhere else. I'm a member for life, something raving like that. Mm-hmm. So that does two things. So whilst it does help people find your facility and potentially attract
great for SEO,
new people
right?
to your facility, it's great for SEO. I mean, there's a lot of tangential benefits, but it's also has a very powerful psychological impact on the person that leaves that review. We're finding that the people that leave those reviews stay a member for longer, a more loyal member, just better members in terms of their monthly transaction. They spend more money at the facility buying swag and other programs that are on offer. I mean, they become your best members, and we think that that them taking that action of leaving you a positive review on Google, on Facebook, wherever you want them to leave you that review, just reinforces that value that you create for them, and the affection and affinity that they have for you and your facility and your trainers and so forth. And we just see that as a really good member retention strategy. There are others, but that's another one I thought I'd take you through.
That's awesome. I love that. I've not heard of that before in terms of the psychological impact that might have. I know of it from an SEO perspective, but that's super interesting. Is it worth mentioning any more on the retention side before you move on to reactivation, or do you want to just move on? It's up to you.
I think we'll just move on.
Sure.
To reactivation. Yep. So
it's getting late there in Australia.
It is, mate. This is the curse of having a global business. Like I've got team members in North America, in the Philippines, and in Australia, and luckily Slack just keeps us all in sync somehow. So
yeah, I should have mentioned at the start of this to everyone listening, Gary's been super kind and doing this at 10 o'clock at night his time, and it's 1:45 my time, so 10:45 his time. And further to that, we're going to be talking about an offer that Gary has, which is likely to be very, very affordable, albeit limited, but would be something that would be really helpful to you guys right now at this difficult time. So obviously stay tuned to the end of this to hear more about that. But sorry, Gary, I'll let you continue.
No worries, mate. So the third element to the ARC strategy is member reactivation. And so this is where we want to reach out to all of our previous members, people that used to visit our facility, pay us membership fees, but for one reason or another have decided to leave the facility. And again, really simple tool to use here is SMS once again, and basically reach out to those members with an offer that we know converts. And so that might, again, be that example of a free 10-day pass. It could be if we're running some sort of a 6-week challenge or whatever offer we know that converts in that market, and just reaching out to those people saying, look, we miss you. We'd love you to come back. Our facility is even better than before when you last experienced it. And I'd love to reintroduce you to how we're doing things now. And I've only got a limited number available again, but I'd like to offer you a free 10-day pass. And again, just taking them through that whole sequence as we went through in the other examples. But basically, we want to try and bring back some of our old members and reactivate them. That's a way that we can potentially generate some quick wins. They potentially already know, like, and trust us, and they might have just left for reasons unrelated to the gym and the facility. I mean, you should never, unless you've done an exit survey with why people have left, you should never assume why they've left, because people will often be very negative in their assumptions that, they didn't like one of our trainers, or they didn't like our facility, or they didn't like our programming. And unless you've done an exit survey, you just don't know why they left. So give them an opportunity to come back and rejoin you.
Yeah.
So that's member reactivation.
Yeah, we're all our worst enemies, aren't we? With the way the mind can sort of take us down that negative rabbit hole about why people cancel or why people behave a certain way without getting that actual feedback. So, do you have? I'm just curious if you have any other reactivation strategies as well while we're on it. I don't know if that's the key one, or if there's others that you would recommend as well.
Look, that's generally the key one. I think it depends on the type of facility that you have, and the only difference then would be the actual offer that you're going to make to them to come back and join you. A lot of our customers run 6-week challenges, and a 6-week challenge is an excellent member reactivation offer, because it's in their mind, it's just a finite period of time. They don't have to they're not coming back to make a long-term commitment yet. And a lot of people that are no longer members may not be visiting any other facility. So they may actually not be in that good of a space physically, mentally, and emotionally, and they remember how good it was when they were training. And so something like a 6-week challenge we see as a very, very highly converting offer for member reactivation. And the beauty of a 6-week challenge is 6 weeks is a great period of time for people to basically get hooked back into training and turning their life around. And it's a very, very high converting offer from the 6-week challenge into a membership. So that's why we like that offer.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of owners in my industry that run these types of programs. One that comes to mind is Discover Strength, who run the body composition competition or body comp challenge. That's right. Better get that right. Yep. And I believe that's run over 6 weeks. And it's a way to obviously get their existing clients involved in that too. It's a way to generate additional revenue because they sell additional services over that time. So I imagine it has multiple benefits, right? Like it's probably great for retention. It's great for reactivating other former customers, and it's also good for increasing revenue and cross-selling into other things as well.
So it was actually my cross-sell example.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
But would you want to elaborate?
Yeah. Look, again, it's a great type of program. I mean, you don't have to call it a 6-week challenge. You can call it, the example you just gave, right? So. But in essence, a defined period where there might be some special programming, there might be some special meal program that forms a part of it, and there's a goal that everyone's trying to achieve, and it can be a very personal goal. Whether it might be a percentage of body fat reduction, it could be a weight reduction, it could be a strength increase, whatever it might be. Having a goal tied to it, and then the cross-sell element is you can sell that program as an additional offering to their membership. And so, a lot of our customers will run, they'll have let's just call it a 6-week challenge for simplicity purposes. And they'll have, say, a 6-week challenge for their member acquisition strategy, but then they'll have an alumni challenge for their member cross-sell strategy. And the alumni challenge is exactly the same program, but it's only available to their existing members. Their existing members get to all do it together, compete healthily together, pushing each other to all achieve the goals that they're looking to achieve, and they tend to get it at a discounted rate to what it's being offered for in the membership acquisition program. So as an example, if we might be using that sort of program as a membership acquisition program and selling it for, say, $500 a person, but for an alumni challenge, our members might only be paying, say, $200 or £200 or €200 as a differential, but they're getting the same program, but they're really being rewarded as well. And it also sort of plays into that psychology around membership retention, because they're really getting a significant financial reward for already being a member, less than half price what everyone else is paying.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else to add? No, that's great. That's awesome. Anything else to add in terms of cross-selling strategies?
Look, I think if they're not already into it, then your own branded merchandise is also a great way to generate more revenue. I highly encourage people to invest in high quality merch, not the cheapest they can find. I think especially in the high intensity strength training market, that's a premium end of the market. People are paying good money to be a member of those facilities, and you want high quality. And it's also good advertising. It's good marketing when people are wearing their shirts or their hoodies, or taking their water bottles or their gym towels and so forth. So there's a lot of different merch that they can be selling to generate more revenue through their members. Other customers have gone down the whole supplements route. So finding a white label supplier, a reliable white label supplier for supplements, and having them branded in the brand of the facility, and including that as part of maybe the meal program that comes along with the membership, and so forth. So there's a couple of other ways that they can look to cross-sell and increase that value per member.
Awesome. That's effectively the strategy, isn't it? ARC: acquisition, retention, reactivation, and cross-sell.
Yeah, so we have multiple strategies and tactics for each of those elements, but hopefully I've given some good ones there that are enough for people to go and look at how they can leverage those in their facility.
Absolutely. One of the things I was going to ask you is, obviously with SMS, you can just use your personal phone and that's fine, but that's quite manual. What tools do you recommend for people to use that might make that a little bit more scalable and automated?
Yes. So we've actually built our own platform, and it's what we use to deliver our service. Mm-hmm. So the service that we provide offers basically it includes service and software and community. There's sort of three elements to it. But we do leverage software so that we can do this in a scalable manner for our clients, but we can also deliver that personalization that people deserve and expect when they're being SMS'd, by including their first name, and including details of the facility name. We never pretend to be a facility staff member that they might know, but we might say, hey, it's Gary from, Lawrence's high intensity strength training gym, as an example. So that's
just rolls off the tongue, that business name, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But look, there's probably other platforms out there.
Is it MindBody probably does it too, right?
Probably does. I don't know how much they do for you as opposed to having to set up and manage it and run it yourself. That's part of the challenge. There are other platforms out there if people search for them. But I think you've still got to do a lot of the heavy lifting yourself as the gym owner, which a lot of gym owners just don't have the time and energy for, and so forth. So, yeah, that's
okay.
all I can say to that.
That's right. Okay, so within your program that we'll come on to in a second, that's part of the service, which is good to know if people are interested in exploring that further. I wanted to, as we kind of start wrapping up here, Gary, I wanted to get into your program and the offer you might have for my audience at this time. But before we do that, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on? I know you're probably getting incredibly tired where you are, so I'm aware of that. But is there anything we think we missed, or any other advice you've got during this time and as a strategy for reopening, or parting thoughts?
Look, well, I guess with some of the strategies I've talked about, these aren't things that you want to implement the day that you reopen your doors. These are tactics that you would want to look at starting, a good 4 to 6 weeks before you reopen your doors. So just keep that in mind, that if you can get some visibility of when you might be allowed to reopen your facility, look to initiate these different strategies. 4 to 6 weeks out, especially if the offer you want to run is sort of that 6-week challenge or something like that. You generally want to start that about 6 weeks out from the start date of that offer. Whereas a 10-day pass, if you're going to use something like that offer, you could be just starting that 3 to 4 weeks out from reopening the facility. But you want to start to get people interested, get them committed, and get them ready to rock in on that first day.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? Right now, they're going to be getting bombarded with people sending them these kinds of offers, if I'm not wrong. And so if you leave it too long, they might already have committed to an offer from someone else, another local facility, maybe an online fitness provider of some kind. So it does pay to be proactive. Is that correct? In terms of my
absolutely.
understanding?
And even if you like at the moment, we don't know when the facilities might reopen. And so apart from running the ideas that I offered at the start about generating some cash immediately into your facility, the other thing I'd encourage every facility owner is to reach out and connect with their members, and again, I think SMS is a great way to do that. And don't try and sell them anything. Don't ask them for anything. Just check in and see how they're going. I mean, these are human beings. They're going to have challenges in their life. They've likely know people that have been, adversely impacted by COVID, and I encourage them to, just reach out to their people. I mean, that in itself will be appreciated greatly. And it's just a good human being thing to do, is to show that you care and reach out.
Yeah, I love this. I think this is a really important point. I think, and I'm not just being biased, but I think our industry is very caring, and I've seen a lot of the communication and messaging going out from the various hit studios, and it's all along that vein. It's very compassionate, showing a lot of empathy and connecting with people. But I was just thinking about how powerful Bonjoro can be right now, and Bonjoro,
absolutely,
yeah. I mean, I'm sure you know it very well, but for those listening, it's just an app on the phone that enables you to record short videos that you can send to customers. My members will be very aware of this because I've been sending videos recently, and you would definitely have received a video from me just saying, hey, how's it going? How are you coping? Because I know many of my members are really struggling right now with their business. And so I want to connect with them. And, almost all of them have become very good friends of mine, which is a great thing about being passionate about the business you're in, being in it for the long term, is you get to build this amazing network of friends who all share the same interests. And so I genuinely care. And I know you do too, Gary, as that was really what triggered this whole podcast. So do you want to talk about what you might be able to do right now to help my listeners with their business?
Yeah, sure. So look, for anyone that's listening that is shut down at the moment and affected by this, by COVID, we're actually offering our service at no charge. So I did caveat that to Lawrence that, we can't do that forever and we can't do it for everyone, but I'm really committed to helping as many facility owners as we physically can to generate revenue immediately through some of the ideas that I've spoken about, as well as setting you up as best as possible for when you are going to reopen your doors. And we're not going to charge anything. Even like, all the you won't be able to pocket a cent. You don't have to pay us anything. You don't have to pay for any of the any text messages or anything that we might do for you. We're genuinely not charging anything. And it's just my way of trying to help the community that I think is so important to society. I'm really worried that people could be at risk of not coming out the other side of this disaster. And I want to do everything I can to make sure as many facilities as possible reopen their doors and continue to serve their communities and help people live healthier and happier lives.
That's awesome. What's the URL for that, Gary?
Look, it's actually I haven't set up a URL for this special offer. This is all coming together pretty quickly. So
course, yeah.
Look, I'll give you a URL to put in the show notes so people can see my website and everything. I'll also give you my Facebook profile and my email. The best way to take advantage of this offer is to send me an email, and I'll have my team connect with you, and we'll get started on trying to get you cash in the door and getting you set up for when you reopen your doors.
Can you give your email on the podcast?
Sure. It's Gary with one R at getsocialengine.com. So that's Gary at getsocialengine.com.
Cool. Good stuff. I'll have the details in the show notes as well, but it's just a way to make sure that people know exactly what to do. You got me thinking, time is of the essence. I want to publish this as soon as I can. I've got a couple in the tank at the moment that I need to get out first, but I'm going to try and get this out ASAP. And I might even, if you're comfortable, Gary, maybe we can talk about this offline, promote this offer before this goes out via some of my other channels, but maybe we'll talk about that, because I'm just thinking about trying to give people access to this when they're most in need, because things are changing by the day, aren't they? So
that's right.
We'll talk about that in a moment. Thank you so much for doing this. And I know we've been back and forth probably for a year now trying to set something up. And it's great to finally be able to do this. And I just think you've been really generous with creating some great content at an unsociable hour, and obviously making a very generous offer. For those listening, the program that Gary delivers, I imagine you normally charge a few thousand for that. I mean, I don't know, but is that the kind of price point you would normally?
So we generally charge $1,000 a month. $1,000 US a month per location. So
yeah, and I'm sure it's worth every penny. But the fact that you're doing this for as many people as you can for next to nothing is amazing. So you've already said what's the best other resources we could direct people to, Gary, about you? Have you got a main other website where if people just want to explore what you're about and your other ventures and things like that?
Look, I don't have a prolific online profile actually. I've always tried to keep my business branding about the business and not me. Mm-hmm. And I've done that for very specific reasons because I've got several businesses and I don't want to dilute my brand across those industries if it was about Gary Griffiths. Yeah. And I also I'm building not Gym Engine because Gym Engine's my baby, but I have some other businesses that I'll be looking to sell one day, and so I definitely need them to not be about the Gary Griffiths brand. So, but look, you can find me on Facebook pretty easily. There might be a few Gary Griffithses, but I'm in Australia, and hopefully you can match up my photo on the podcast to the photo on Facebook. I might give you one that's about 15 years ago, so I look a bit younger and all that. But
yeah, no, I'm sure they'll be okay with that. This has been awesome. So for everyone listening, to find the blog post for this episode and download the PDF transcript, please go to highintensitybusiness.com and search for episode 263. And until next time, thank you very much for listening.
Discover how to achieve your health and fitness goals, become a great personal trainer, and build a successful high-intensity training business. Check out highintensitybusiness.com. highintensitybusiness.com.